But then I know that when I'm on my deathbed and looking back at my life, I'm going to feel like that was such a waste of time. Like I'm really out here wasting 8 to 9 hours of my day working to make some random person money, someone who I possibly don't even know, or if I do know them, it's just like I'm trading away my time for not enough. Jeez Louise. So, it is middle of June, 2024, and I'm in Zim, and there's just a lot that is on my mind at present. Namely to do with the theme of death and transformation and things passing away, and how difficult it is to deal with that. So yeah, I've kind of experienced a few deaths over the past year or so, some of them like literal physical deaths. I've had 2 very close people to me die. One was in the past 2 months. The other was that was September, so that was about almost 9 months ago. And yeah, the others have been like metaphorical deaths, just things and situations that have changed a lot from what they used to be and from what I was used to them being. And yeah, it's just been a lot. Like, I've been kicking and screaming emotionally, and just like not really accepting what's what and accepting reality on reality's terms. It's really been like a struggle, but that's not necessarily what I want to speak about, not the emotional fallout of those things, but just the way that it's made me think so much more about the meaning of impermanence, or rather like, okay, if things are impermanent, then what? Like, what are the consequences of that impermanence in terms of what I value and in terms of how I live this life? And it's just becoming like very clear to me that at the end of the day, I need to measure everything against death and the inevitability of death. Yeah, like in terms of like literal death, when I'm on my deathbed, I'm gonna look back and I just want to measure everything that I'm doing right now based on what I will find valuable then and what I'll find to be a waste of time then. Like when I look back and I'm on my deathbed, am I gonna find it valuable that I was like working? Okay, so for example, right now I'm trying to figure out what I want to do vocationally. I quit my job a couple months ago, and I'm kind of in limbo in that regard. I'm trying to figure out where to go and what to do. And there are like opportunities that are potentially going to give me like a good amount of money, but then I'm just not very interested in them. Or just like generally just getting like a normal job so that I feel more like, oh, there's structure, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do every day. And also just culturally, like people here where I'm from just make one feel as if like, what have you even got going on? Like I could be doing a bunch of different things, but as long as it's not a job, a typical job, or like something that they value as a career or like a profession, then it's like invalid. So then there's that pressure to just be like, oh, so that like people aren't asking me, you know, about my schedule and like everything. Maybe I should just go get a real job. But then I know that when I'm on my deathbed and looking back at my life, I'm gonna feel like that was such a waste of time. Like I'm really out here wasting 8 to 9 hours of my day working to make some random person money, someone who I possibly don't even know, or if I do know them, it's just like I'm trading away my time for not enough. Like, especially in Zimbabwe, no one is paying me enough to trade away the precious amount of time that I have. But even in other places in the world, there's lots of jobs, even if they're paying like quite well, where you're gonna look back at it and be like, bro, I was spending 80% of my life in this one place. 80% of my waking life. Let's not include like sleeping hours, but 80% of my waking life in this one place. Can I really truly look back and say that that was like the best use of my time, this one short and precious life that I have? Like, am I really gonna feel fulfilled and happy that I was like punching in and punching out and like doing all of these kind of like arbitrary tasks sometimes? Some jobs are like definitely very fulfilling and you can kind of see the purpose, but some are just like for the sake of being busy and for the sake of catching a check, and I'm like, no, I just don't want to do that. Because when I look at the fact that everything is going to end and this thing that we call life is going to end, I just don't have any desire to spend it doing that. And yeah, like there's just so many things that I feel like I need to do in this life for me to not look back with regret. There's so much fear that I have, so much hesitation that I have, so many things that I know I should be doing that I'm not doing because of dumb things like self-consciousness and I don't know, sometimes laziness and procrastination. And like when I look back, am I gonna be like, damn, Butler, that series that you binged that one night, like that was a good use of your time? Like, yes, I love consuming art, it makes me feel, it's a beautiful aspect of like, you know, being a human, but for the most part the amount that like we consume in terms of like art and distraction is just too much. And I know that I'm gonna look back and be very upset at myself for fucking doing that. There's a grasshopper, wow, pretty. I know I'm gonna be not upset, but just like feel like, dude, every single second and every single moment is so precious. And then there's like other deaths, because obviously like physical death is a real thing, the most in our faces, and like, yeah, what we describe as a big upheaval. But then there's also other things in life, like nothing in this world is permanent or unchanging. Like nothing lasts. And in the face of those things as well, like it makes me feel like, yo, when those things come to an end, things that maybe I take for granted that will be the case forever. Right now I'm like turning 30, so my health is something that I'm starting to consider more than I was when I was younger. Even those things are changing, and in the face of that, like, you know, what are things that I should be doing now that when my health is not as good as it is now, I'm gonna regret? Like, did I dance enough? Did I enjoy the pain-free use of my body enough? Even down to like my thinking. One of the people who passed away who was close to me was my grandma, and she had dementia like in her later years, and yeah, she was a whip smart person. Like she was a polyglot. She knew how to speak like 9 languages. She'd like traveled around Southern Africa a lot when she was a kid. Not when she was a kid, like when she was a kid and when she was like a young adult. And all of that was kind of just ripped from her in the end. It was really sad and really hard to see. So I think to myself, like, even down to like my brain and what it's able to do, like I'll waste time like binging series or like watching YouTube videos and YouTube shorts, and it's like, what a waste of my brain capacity. And it's something that when I look back, I know when I'm less quick and when I'm less sharp, I'm gonna be like upset about. I mean, I hope that obviously, and I'm taking many steps, as many as I can. Obviously dementia is not something that, yeah, it's some of it's genetic. It's not something that you can really ward off for real, but like I'm trying to take care of my neurological health as well with a number of different things. But yeah, like in the face of the death and the passing away of everything, how am I living my life? How are you living your life? Are you staying in the moment and taking advantage of every single second that there is? Every circumstance that you're in, you don't know how long that circumstance is going to last. You don't know if it's permanent. You don't know if you're going to be in the same circumstances tomorrow, which for negative things is a good thing, but like for the positive things, for certain things that you take for granted, where you have opportunity and you have certain privileges to be in a certain way, are you taking advantage of that? Like, yeah, death is the ultimate barometer. I feel like at this point it is the ultimate barometer, and it's the one and only thing that I need to be using to determine the value of what I'm doing. And it should be a motivator. It should motivate me to do what needs to be done. And I hope that it does. Because, like right now I'm saying there's so many things that have been very glaring because of the amount of like physical deaths, metaphorical deaths, and just general like transformations that I've experienced over the past year or so that are making me think. But then when sometimes you like get back into the flow of life, and then there's distance from those, big upheavals and stuff like that, and then you forget. And I just hope that I don't forget, because it's definitely something that I need to be thinking about. So anyway, that's me rambling. It's just a little rambly reminder to myself that everything passes away, nothing lasts. So I need to move that way. I need to move as such, and I need to stay in the moment and really appreciate every single thing in every single moment before it inevitably passes away. Anyway, let me go. Let me dust off my stuff and get going. Bye. I'll chat to you another time. I'm not sure about what, but we'll chat. We'll chat sometime. Peace.